I suffered a mild stroke while masturbating and had to call 911. First responders and several family members saw my setup and I'm still struggling with how to deal with the embarrassment of it all. AMA. Update: in the past 24 hours, my life got way more embarrassing, and then got way better. I seriously expected to get like 3 comments to this post. As in 1, that's gay, 2, sucks to be you, and 3, and stroke and jokes. I was starting to get concerned yesterday afternoon when this thing really started to get upvoted and all my detailed answers were already in the comments. Perhaps I should have expected this, but a link to this post made it into my parents' email inbox via a friend of my younger sister, not the freaky one, who was like hey, isn't this what happened to your brother? I just assumed it was going to stay in the family, but why would I think that? Happy to elaborate if needed, but long story short, the parents got the link because my sister was concerned for me and thought this would help. I wanted to kill her initially. The parents read all the comments. Hi, Mom, they didn't know Reddit existed and were really impressed with the quality of the discussion and were happy they got to hear my unfiltered perspective on all this. You guys were totally right. They made comments respecting my private sex life and were embarrassed for me, not judgmental of me. It was a long discussion, 3 hours, that ended with lots of joking, laughing and some crying. At one point, my dad even asked so, that feels good, huh? I think he's curious, smile, and my sister maintained she did not take my butt plug. Over a month ago, I had a transient ischemic attack, and have basically made a full recovery. But I literally thought I was going to die. I had settled in for an extended session of self-love complete with several toys and porn playing to the TV. About 20 minutes in, my entire left side, I'm left-handed, went numb and I lost strength in both arms. I felt I could not lift them above my shoulders. And nothing made sense. The girl in the video had been talking dirty, but now sounded like garbled nonsense. I tried to talk, like to say what the fuck out loud or something, and all that came out was you so at that point, I lost all sense of the situation and just dialed 911. Within what seemed like 3.5 seconds, first responders knocked at my door and I greeted them without any clothes on, porn still playing, big dildos and more glistening on a towel on the floor. I was making no sense and was no doubt acting really out of it, so they took me to the ER where I was discharged a few hours later with the full clarity of what had happened. My dad was at the ER with me, and when he said let's get you home all I was thinking is that I needed to get into the house first. My mother and sister's car were parked out front of my house when we pulled up, so this was clearly moot. I am just a bit mortified. The conversations and awkwardness of the past 5 weeks has been a daily curse. Probably one of those stories you see on Reddit. I'm a paramedic AMA. Anyways, that aside, glad you're okay. Better that you're well now than them finding you unconscious or dead in your living room naked with all your toys laying around. So just so I can relate, I'll tell you of the accident that showed my setup to my family. Parents, grandparents and all accompanied family members. Let me set the scene. Family reunion, volleyball in the backyard with my hefty female cousin. She hit the ball over the fence into the neighbor's garden and I was convinced by my uncle I should jump and retrieve it as he figured she could not. I jumped off the top of this fence and landed on a half-inch piece of steel stock that they must have been using as a truss. Entered through my scrotum and came out 30 centimeters above my setup. I proceeded to pull myself off it in a fit of shock and jump back over the fence. The fence ripped me of my dignity and my pants were torn from my body completely. There I am bleeding from the groin and my whole family, 20 plus people, shocked staring at my setup. I was rushed to the hospital. Turns out the steel stock pushed everything vital out of the way and only damaged tissue. Happened a few years ago, it gets better op. Just the occasional shish kebab joke now. TL, doctor got impaled through the scrotum, 20 plus family members saw my dick and balls covered in blood. Yeah, okay, I'll just sit here staring at my computer making a weird face and involuntarily cupping my balls. You're a kinky guy. Own it. Might as well be out about whatever it is you're into. Have fun with it. Let them be embarrassed. Invite them to be as open-minded as you. And then thank them for saving your life and loving you. Edit, I realized this is an AMA, so I'll add a couple questions to my unsolicited advice. How many sex toys did you have out anyway? Have you considered writing a self-love how-to book? 2 butt plugs, 1 largish realistic-looking black dildo, not sure why the color matters, but it probably does to someone involved here. Couple different lubes, nipple pumps, they probably have no idea what those are, and an anaros. This was all wrapped up in a towel and placed in my room by either my mother or my sister. The smaller of the 2 butt plugs is and quat, missing dot and quat. I have several theories. 1. It wasn't me when I called 911 and they have a protocol of not and quat, returning and quat, such a thing. 2. I did something with it in a panic and I'll end up finding it in a drawer the next time I move. Or 3. My freaky sister took it. I know that last one sounds crazy, but it's like a 1% idea and would not completely surprise me. Probably one of those stories you see on Reddit. I'm a paramedic AMA. Anyways, that aside, glad you're okay. Better that you're well now than them finding you unconscious or dead in your living room naked with all your toys laying around. Well, better for them. I would not have known the difference. Not that I at all wish that had been the outcome. But it did make me think about the other things I might have that people would discover if I did die suddenly. Do you have any lasting effects from the stroke? I feel like my left hand is still somewhat numb, but that could be imaginary, and even if it isn't, I could happily live my life like this, otherwise, no lasting impact. Age, gender, orientation, etc. Oh, yeah, sorry. 32, straight. Live-in girlfriend of 6 years who was thankfully out of town on travel. She knows I had the TIA and went to the ER, but I think that's all. She is good friends with my youngest sister, not the one who was at my house, so she could know something, but we're pretty open, so I think she would have said something. I do intend to tell her, but it's just been a lot. I'm apparently the Madden shooter. What's up, ask away as this is entertaining. What's it like to be the center of next and quat? We did it Reddit and quat, like scandal. Confused at first, now I'm just laughing about it. See if you can wrangle this into some interviews. If you get harassed, you may even get a book deal. Have had 3 news sites ask for a phone interview. Are you going to be bringing lawsuits against some of the websites that spread this defamatory information? Could I do that? Possibly. Gateway pundit misidentified the Charlottesville driver who hit the protester and is suing them. If you end up getting doxxed or harassed by idiots IRL, then you probably have a case. RIP to your Reddit account though, fam, it's gonna get nuked by QAnon idiots. I like talking to idiots. Seems Reddit should keep its day job and give up on the whole cyber detective thing. Enjoy your 15 minutes of Reddit fame, bro. I'm feeling great, time to grab the vodka. Cats and the Cradle Harry Chapin. That is a good one. That really gets me. Somewhere Only We Know, Keen. This brings me back to a simpler time. I'm a successful writer who's about to lose my ability to write. I've got a brain tumor sitting on the language processing center of my left frontal lobe. Before the tumor first erodes my skills then kills me, I'm writing 1 million words, 12 books in 12 months. AMA. Edit. Thanks so much for the overwhelming responses, Reddit humans. This was my first post ever, and I feel I've joined a real and thoughtful, wise and fun community here. Thanks, too, for the awards and recognition. My goal was not self-publicity, but rather to motivate you, to urge you to assume the tumor. Don't wait for a diagnosis like mine to get the stuff done you know you must do. Get to it. For the record, I'm halfway through book 3 and going strong, despite pretty serious pain. New edit, first book's out and second goes to press on Mon. Join me at 11 a.m. ET Sunday, December 15th for an IAMA on this subject. Get motivated. Get inspired. Get your butt in gear for the new year. How's sleep coming? Wow. That's a great question. The tumor itself doesn't affect sleep, but the chronic pain, crippling headaches, does. I took sleeping pills for the first few years, but for the past year, I'm taking only melatonin and valerian now. Thanks for asking. NP. I figured in the same situation I'd be anxious as hell. Yeah, I get it. I don't have anxiety meaning worry. I have anxiety meaning urgency. And I wish I hadn't waited for a brain tumor to start feeling urgency. You know? Assume the tumor, man. Anvils can fall out of the sky at any moment. So, do what you must. Do what you need to do. Tell her you love her. Get out of the situation. Whatever. Thanks for commenting. Dang man, that sucks. I hope you are beyond satisfied with the work that you accomplished and I wish you the best in your life. Less than 3. I don't so much see it as a bummer, but an opportunity. I've been a successful ghostwriter for a long time, helping others get their voices heard. It's finally a chance, life or death, write or die, to get my own stuff out there. I'm grateful. Not that I would wish a brain tumor on anyone else. For me, though, it's been a positive wake-up call. Thanks so much for asking. Godspeed man. Pour out your heart and your soul. You're up there with all the great Stoics and men who accepted their death and chose to do some good with the time they have left. That's the coolest thing anyone has ever said to me. Thanks. Are you sure it's a death sentence? If yes, does knowing either way it goes you'll die make accepting your death easier? Sorry if they come off as grim. Thanks for asking. I'm not being negative, only realistic. They were able to get only a certain percentage of the tumor out in surgery, the rest is too integrated in my frontal lobe, and quat, like oatmeal on a rug, and quat, they say. So, realistically, it will start growing, and it will eat up my language skills, eventually it will kill me. But, there's everyday new stuff going on in cancer research. The brain, in particular, tends to get a lot of attention and money for studies. So, anything can happen. I remain hopeful and optimistic on a daily basis. But I try to live every day like it's a good day to die. P.S. Not at all grim. Thanks for asking. I arrest doctors and nurses who kill their patients. Don't let it happen to you. Former Special Agent Bruce Sackman, AMA. I am the retired Special Agent in charge of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs (OIG). There are a number of ongoing cases in the news about doctors and nurses who are accused of murdering their patient. I am the co-author of Behind the Murder Curtain, The true story of medical professionals who murdered their patients at VA hospitals, and how we tracked them down. Ask me anything. How does one find out that doctors or nurses intended to kill their patient? It usually begins with statistics. Every time a particular nurse or doctor is on duty, the death rate goes up. He or she takes time off, the death rate goes down. These are patients that were not suspected by family or staff of being near death. How do you differentiate between an incompetent doctor and a murderous doctor? Are you using these as a statistical warning sign for further investigations? Murder is a question of intent to kill, not one that is killing because of incompetence. But the aforementioned statistical approach, higher death rates, does not differentiate the two. Do I assume you must have a way to tell? The higher death rates is just the first red flag. Then an entire criminal investigation must begin to determine if these patients expired as a result of their natural disease processes or something more sinister. Any life hacks for how to not be murdered, or is it just random chance? How are most of the murders committed? Is there a specific bracket of people most at risk? What was the most difficult to determine murder? Gods, this feels callous to ask. The very old have been the majority of victims, but certainly not exclusively. The murders are committed in the hospital, usually around 3:am when few people are around. It is very difficult to prove murder in a hospital setting. Do you think installing more surveillance cams throughout the hospital will resolve this issue? It couldn't hurt, but with HIPAA you probably won't get to see what you'd hope to see.
Subscribe.
He said it.